You know what's wild to me? You know what's absolutely wild to me? The fact that George Santos, right now, who has been accused of money laundering, wire fraud, and all kinds of just credit card shit, for some reason, he is actively not going to have to deal with a lot of the repercussions of that. Why? Well, let's find out. Let's find out. So George Santos's fines and restitution have been wiped out by Donald Trump's order for clemency. George Santos will not be required to pay any additional fines or restitution related to his criminal conviction, according to his clemency order, which was made public this Monday, so 2 days ago. Santos was released from prison Friday after President Trump announced that he signed a sentence commutation for the former lawmaker who reported to prison 3 months ago to begin his 87-month sentence. The clemency order grants Santos an immediate commutation of his entire sentence to time served with no further fines, restitution, probation, supervised release, or other conditions. So let me get this straight. You are allowed to steal thousands of dollars from the taxpayers, but if Trump likes you, he can get you off of that. He can get you off of that. He can do that. Why not? Also, food stamps are not set to end on November 1st. Where did you hear that? That sounds like a hyperbolization of the fact that due to the shutdown, right now, the SNAP program is not going to be able to be fully funded. At least it looks like. And as a result, a lot of Americans may be losing food stamps, but that's not the same thing as the food stamp program ending on November 1st. Unless you can substantiate that version of the claim, please do not throw hyperbolic, very, very, very worrying rhetoric around. Now, I do know, I heard that the head of the U.S. today was canceling food stamps altogether. Right, where did you hear that? Like, where did you hear that? That sounds like gossip. Now, I know in Georgia, there is a difference to the work requirement for food stamps. I know that's changing here, starting on November 1st, and that people who currently have SNAP benefits will not receive them on November 1st, and they will be delayed so long as the government shutdown is in effect. Because Congress can get paid during the government shutdown, but for some reason, people who need food stamp money can't get it. It was through a YouTuber based in Oregon. She was showing articles, but I don't remember the sources. That sounds very much like hyperbolizing. If it was I'm not familiar with Park Rose permaculture. I have friends that do not like them, but I do not know enough about them to make any opinions myself. But if they were saying that this stuff is ending now, they are doing hyperbolization for the purpose of scaring you. Yes, there is stuff to be worried about. Absolutely. But these things ending completely, that's not the same thing. Now, I'm willing to be proven wrong on that. I'm completely willing to be wrong on that. I'm willing to find out within the next hour or, tomorrow or whenever that the version of events that I've been reading is actually incorrect and that we have much more to be worried about. I am more than willing to find out about that. But as of right now, do also bear in mind, we're playing a game of telephone, so I may even be misrepresenting what she has said, because I'm only operating off of the version of events that has been told to me by XC Tega. So even that version could be incorrect here. That is how games of telephone work. For anybody who's unaware, a game of telephone is when you have one person say one thing into your ear, and then you say the thing that you heard to the next person. And usually when we do the game of telephone with kids, we find that the words that are said to like person 6 are substantially different than the words that were uttered by person 1. And it's not that anybody in the line tried to deceive anybody going forward, but that's just how information can get obscured as we go through first-hand source, second-hand source, third-hand source, fourth-hand source. This is just the natural thing that happens with information. So I will look into it and see what's going on, but all of the scanning I'm doing right now is not showing that version of events. We'll have to see. Kaname-kun says November's going to have federal processing issues. Some people may possibly not have access to benefits or have benefits delayed. Right. That I know is happening. That's what I'm reading as well. That's what I see is going on. That's not the same thing as the program ending. Now, I know that there are plenty of people in Congress, especially on the Republican side, who really want the SNAP program to end. They really want people to not only pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but also starve. Anyway, back to corrupted grifters, I guess. Santos was released from prison Friday after President Trump announced that he signed a sentence commutation for the former lawmaker, who reported to prison 3 months ago to begin his sentence. The clemency order gave him an immediate... Okay, we already read all that. Santos, who pleaded guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft as a plea deal last summer, has also been sentenced to 2 years of supervised release in order to pay more than $370,000 in restitution. In an interview on CNN's State of the Union on Sunday, host Dana Bash pressed Santos on whether he would still have to pay restitution ordered by the court, and he indicated that he did not know, but he would do whatever the law requires of him. Yeah, but his daddy is the one who's shaping the law. Like, Daddy Emperor Trump is the one who's able to shape the law around this situation. So this is about a fine. This is about paying money back, Bash said in the interview. And whether you describe them as victims or just donors to the NRCC, what the court said is that they should get their money back. Will you work to try to do that? And then, of course, he says, well, look, I can do my best to do whatever the law requires of me. So I don't know what that is. I've been out of prison for 2 days. I agreed to come here to speak with you candidly and openly and not to obfuscate. My guy, when she asked you a simple yes or no question and you provided a legitimate paragraph in response, then yeah, no, I'm sorry. That means that you are trying to obfuscate. He says, if it's required of me by law, yes. If it's not, then no. I will do whatever the law requires me to. So he's openly saying he's scammed people and he's not willing to give that money back. Santos was originally sentenced to a 7-year prison term after he pleaded guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. He was expelled from Congress after reports revealed he had fabricated much of his resume and lied on campaign finance reports. George has been in solitary confinement for long stretches of time and by all accounts has been horribly mistreated. And that was from Trump, so I guess it's George has been in solitary confinement, which is horrible, for long stretches of time, and I know about long stretches of time. And by all accounts, which are many, has been horribly, horribly mistreated. A lot like I was. A lot like I was in 2020 when they tried to steal the election from me. Horrible, horrible stuff. Horrible people. All Democrats, actually. Every single one of them. You know, I hear the left is bringing the guillotines back. Maybe they should get some Democrats up there. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not saying that. They're saying that. That's the left that's saying that, actually, not me. They're horrible. Antifa, terrorists, all of them. All of them. But if they clean out some of their own, hey. I deeply apologize to all of you for letting that go on as long as Trump would allow it to go on. Anyway, therefore, I just signed a commutation releasing George Santos from prison immediately. Good luck, George. Have a great life, Trump added. Joe Murray, Santos' attorney, said the former congressman was released around 11 p.m. on Friday. Remember, kids, remember, if you are a congressman, you are allowed to steal from the American people. You are allowed to commit identity theft to the American people. You are allowed to do all kinds of nasty shit to the American people, but if your friend is Donald Trump, you will receive far fewer, if not no, consequences for your actions. And isn't that just the world we'd all love to live in? Isn't that just fantastic, actually? Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Valis of Sereth, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.